we are going to be looking at how we find the area of rectangles and triangles. The first thing we need to know is what area actually means. Area is the amount of space inside a 2D shape. So looking at this shape, rectangle, to find the area, you multiply the length and the width. So the area of a rectangle is length times width. Now looking at these two examples, we are going to work through them. Starting with example 1, we are asked to find the area of the rectangle. To find the area, we first write out the equation. Area of a rectangle is equal to length times width. We know what the length and widths are, so area is equal to 6 times 4, which is equal to 24. We need the units for area, so to find the units for area for this particular rectangle, you multiply the units for length and width, which is centimetre multiplied by centimetre, which will give you centimetre squared. So 24 centimetres squared is your final answer for the area of this rectangle. Now looking at example 2, we are asked to find the length of the rectangle when you are given the area. So we know the area is 35 millimeters squared. We know this is the area because when we look at the units, it is millimeters squared. So again, the first thing we need to do is write out the equation for the area of a rectangle. So area is equal to length times width. We know what the area is and we know what the width is, so we need to rewrite this equation with the area and the width. So 35 is equal to L times 7. We are now going to solve this equation by using inverse operations. So we have multiplication on the right hand side. The inverse of multiplication is division, so we are going to divide both sides by 7. 35 divided by 7 is 5, and 7 divided by 7 is 1. So we are left with 5 is equal to L. So the length is 5 millimeters. We can go back and check whether this is correct. So we have the length that we've just worked out and we know the width is 7. So 7 times 5 is equal to 35, which gives us the answer that we need for area. So now I need you to pause this video and try these questions on your screen to find the area of the rectangles and also to find the length given the area of a rectangle. So remember, when you are finding the length, you first write out the equation for area, you substitute what you know into the equation, you then solve the equation using your inverse operations. So pause the video now. Answers for these questions are on the screen, coming on the screen now, so mark your work. When you are ready to move on, so when you are happy with these questions and you're ready to move on, please do so. We are now moving on to find the area of a triangle. So we've got this rectangle. We know how to find the area of this rectangle, which is 24 centimeters squared. So moving on, we are going to cut this rectangle into 2 triangles. So we are going to cut this rectangle in half, and we have 2 triangles. Are these 2 triangles equal? And they are in fact equal. So what do we know from this? What we can see is the area of a triangle is exactly half the area of a rectangle. So looking at this, to find the area of this triangle, you can find the area of the rectangle that we had, which was 6 times 4, which is 24, and then you divide that by 2, which will give you 12, which 12 centimeters squared, which is the area of this triangle. So the equation to find the area of a triangle, it's base times height divided by 2. Again, remember we are dividing by 2 because the area of a triangle is exactly half the area of a rectangle. Right, moving on now, we've got 2 examples. The first example, we are going to be finding the area of a triangle. So the first thing we are going to do is rewrite the equation to find the area of a triangle. Area is equal to base times height divided by 2. So we know the base is 6, we know the height is 3, and we are going to divide that by 2. Area is equal to 6 times 3 divided by 2, which is equal to 6 times 3 is 18, divided by 2 is 9. Your answer is 9 centimeters squared. Remember, the units for area in this case will be centimeters squared. Now, looking at question 2a, the question has asked us to find the height of the triangle. We are told what the area is, which is 12 centimeters squared, and we are given the base, which is 8. So we can now find what the height is. So the first thing we are going to do is rewrite the equation to find the area of a triangle. So area is equal to base times height divided by 2. We know what the area is, it is 12. We know what the base is, it is 8. We don't know what the height is, so we are going to leave it as h divided by 2. We can now solve this equation to find what h is, and to solve this equation, like before, we need to use inverse operations. So the first thing we are going to do is look at the right hand side. We need to get rid of this 2, which is at the bottom. So what we are going to do is multiply both sides by 2 because we are going to use inverse operations. Remember, this line is divide. So 12 times, so inverse of division is multiplication. So that is what we are going to do to both sides of the equal sign. 12 times 2 is 24. And then we've got 8 times h on the right hand side. We are now going to use inverse operations again. So we have multiplication here. The inverse of multiplication is division. So we are going to divide both sides by 8. Then we have 3. So 24 divided by 8 is 3. Is equal to h. Because 8 divided by 8 is 1. Therefore we are just left with 1h, which is the same as saying h. So our final answer for height is equal to 3 centimeters. We can go back and check whether this is correct by using the height and the base. So using the equation, base times height divided by 2. So base, which is 8, height, which we have just worked out, is 3. 8 times 3 is 24, and then 24 divided by 2, because remember, the area of a triangle is half the area of a rectangle. So 24 divided by 2, which will give you 12. And 12 centimeters squared is our area. So that's how we know this is our correct height. So remember, when you are finding the height, when you are told what the area of the triangle is and what the base of the triangle is, you write the equation first. You substitute what you know. So in our case, we know what the area is and we know what the base is, and then we use our inverse operations to solve the equation to find height. So moving on now, there's a set of questions on your screen. I need you to pause this video again and try these questions on your own. These are similar to the examples that we have just gone through, and the answers will follow. So pause this video now. Right, the answers for these questions are on your screen now. Mark what you have done. When you are happy with this and you are ready to move on, we will do so. So there's just one more task now. So on Maths Watch, I have assigned you a task named Lesson 1, How do we find the area of a rectangle and triangle? Answer the questions on Maths Watch. So there's a few questions. It shouldn't take you longer than about 15 to 16 minutes. Submit those questions and I will have a look at them